Hey everybody, I'm Mubin,
My name is Jason.
My name is Pierre.
and today we're going to be presenting our SOC 808 4-week group presentation on food and labor. The first topic I'm going to be talking about is the globalization of food. So in World War I and World War II, rationing of food was very prevalent just because food was an important commodity because they needed to send lots of food to the soldiers overseas, and there wasn't as much production as there would be had it not been wartime. So in World War I, citizens were asked to voluntarily give up foods like meat, bread, and sugar, just because those foods were more sought after, and it brings up the morale of the soldiers. So the citizens would stick to a mainly fruit and vegetable diet consisting of beans and lettuce, cucumbers, just things like that. And in World War II, the government actually put legal restrictions on food imports and transportation of goods because there was a shortage of rubber as well, because they needed to make rubber tires for army vehicles in the war and army vehicles like jeeps and tanks and stuff like that. So they couldn't transport food around like with trucks and stuff. Citizens were also given government issued coupons to buy canned foods, sugar, and coffee. And they did that because food was so scarce during World War II. If you were living in those times, you couldn't buy more than, say, 250 grams of sugar per person per week, just because they needed to ration it out that much because of tariffs, and there was imports on foods being imported to the country. But then after World War II, things started easing up. There was no more restrictions on food imports or exports, and there was a real globalization of food. So lots of countries started exporting their produce. In South America, they were exporting avocados. In Southeast Asia, they were exporting mangoes. In Canada, even, were known for exporting real natural maple syrup. Ever since then, when you walk into a grocery store, you can find foods from all over the world. You can find avocados from Venezuela. You can find mangoes from India. That's what caused the globalization of food. And as a fun fact, the average plate of food takes 15 to 2,500 miles of shipping just to reach your plate, because you could have lettuce from say France, and then you can have tomatoes from Venezuela, and if you add it all up, the average is 15 to 2,500 miles.
So I'm Pierre, and I'll be talking about food and labor. So my first topic will be industrial labor in the food industry. So when it comes with it, we talk about industrialization of agriculture and labor demand. The industrialization of farming refers to the transformation whereby farms have become on larger scale. Firms, industrialized farms have division of labor among owners. So there is different type of jobs that follows with the farming. As in 2001, about 727,000 Canadians lived on farms, making up 12% of the rural population and just 2% of the overall population. Today, most of work is done with machinery, and farming is a job for the select few who can make it go of it. These facts show that the farming in Canada has drastically changed over the past decades, from several small family farms to large mechanized businesses. So also, with industrialization, there's something that has been put in place is the agri-food work chain. So that was what I was explaining before, with the starting of the farmers that crop the food, and then after send with transportation to the industry where they transform the food to be sell after in the grocery stores. So we come with these dangerous working condition. So with the exposition of pesticides, and also with the dangerous condition with machinery and everything, not always the employees that are employed in the farms or in the industries are covered by insurance, or have ability to cover their medical threat. So it becomes really hard for them to continue their job, as well as the condition in the field. They're very hard, and the farmers in Canada and USA are employing people from foreign country, which they pay less to work in difficult condition and dangerous condition. For example, during COVID, people were coming from foreign countries to work into the fields, even though the disease were here, and some of them died in the field while working. Also, we can see on the graph that the economy of farming and domestic cells in Canada have been growing up since 2005 and now still going with a target of 140 billion in 2025. So the next topic I'll be talking about is laws and regulation about food and labor in Canada. So government groups like Dairy Farmers of Canada have been put in place in Canada to regulate the sales and the production of different products. So the Dairy Farmers of Canada, for example, they're treating about what kind of milk can be produced in Canada and how much milk can be imported into Canada. It also designed the fact that the milk is produced into safe ways and biologic ways, comparing to like some other like non really ethic farms. Safe. After that, we'll talk about the Safe Food Canadian Act and Regulation. It's an act that has been put in place to consolidate the authorities of the legislation, such as Fish Inspection Act, the Canada Agricultural Product Act, also as the Dairy Product Regulation, Egg Regulation, Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Regulation, Honey Regulation, and etc. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency is it's the agency that it has been put in place to be regulate the food exporting and importation in Canada and outside of Canada. So they're the one that was controlling it. Now they refer to the Health Canada Centre and the Public Health Agency of Canada for the food safety and responsibility of the Canadian Food Inspection. Of what we consume domestically is produced within Canada, but over 50% of what we produce is exported. Canada is the 5th largest food exporter in the world, but also the 6th largest food importer. Over 50% of domestic beef production, 70% of our pork, and 65% of soybean, 75% of wheat, and 85% for canola processed food or product are exported. We were fortunate enough to connect with a local farmer, and he was able to give us some insight of what it's like farming in 2021 along with the labor involved.
Hey guys, Mobeen here, and I'm here at a local farm right now, and we're gonna go talk to the farmer, and we're gonna ask him a couple questions of how life as a farmer is in 2021 after the pandemic and everything. So here's our farmer right here, Omar. Hello. He's holding a chicken right now. So Omar, just introduce yourself, tell the guys like what you do.
So I'm a homegrown farmer. I raise chickens in my backyard.
Yo, what's up, bro?
Make sure you get it over the wings, and
Wait, what if it flies away, bro?
that's why you gotta get it over the wings. Like hold it over the wings.
So what's the daily routine for a chicken farmer?
Alright, so I wake up early in the morning, like around sunrise, and then I check if they have fresh water. I give them some fresh water. I refill their food up. I get their food from a place really far away. I get it in bulk because it's cheaper for me and it's more sustainable for me, so that's what I do. And then I also make sure I get their eggs, because if I leave their eggs for too long, they start eating their own eggs. Like they'll start pecking at it and they'll start cracking it and they start eating their own eggs, and that becomes a bad habit for them. So for me, I have these chickens so they could produce eggs for me and so I can eat them. So if they start biting their eggs, if they start chipping at their eggs, I don't have any eggs to eat. So here we have tomato bushes and a variety of other plants and trees. These trees are mainly for fruits. So we have plum trees, peach trees, and cherry trees. Over here we have the tomato bushes, as I mentioned, and we have a variety of tomatoes that grow over here. So we have cherry tomatoes, we have the normal big size tomatoes, we have orange tomatoes, and we have big red plump juicy tomatoes. Here we have an owl. This is not a real owl. This is just a fake owl to deter any pests away, to make sure my farm stays safe. So if any raccoons or any hogs come around, they'll get scared by this owl because it looks big and feisty. Leave.
So Omar the farmer also has rabbits. So I'm just wondering, what do you do with the rabbits? You said with the chickens, you eat the eggs, you sell the eggs, and after you obviously slaughter the chicken and sell it or eat it. So what do you do with the rabbits? Do you eat them too, or do you just sell them, breed them? What do you do?
Alright, so there's a lot of types of rabbits. There's some meat rabbits and there's just normal domestic rabbits. So this one right here that I'm holding, this is a Holland Lop rabbit. A lot of people like these as pets because they look really nice, and they're really cute. So with these, I breed them a lot, and I sell them to normal pet owners that want a rabbit, because these are really cute and they're really nice pets. They make really good pets. They're easy to maintain, and it's a lot of extra side money that helps support my farm.
Okay, that makes sense.
We took a minute to step inside, and I just wanted to ask you, so how do you sell your produce and livestock?
So every weekend, I go to the farmer's market and I bring over my produce that I've grown. So tomatoes, eggplants, chilies, peppers, all of that stuff. I bring over the eggs that I've gotten throughout the week, and I refrigerate them so that way they don't get bad. They don't go bad. I also bring sometimes meat depending upon what time of the season it is, because chickens grow up. They take a really long time to grow up, so I can't bring them every single week. Depends on what time of the season it is. And then it's really easy for me to sell at the farmer's market because there's already an audience that is really health conscious and cares about what they're putting inside their body. At the groceries, it's really convenient to get stuff in bulk and whenever you want it. But those products also have GMOs in them. And a lot of people don't care about what they're putting in their body, but the people that are at the farmer's market, they really care about their health. So that's why it's easy for me to sell. But this whole industrialization of this whole livestock market and produce growing, it's just insane because it impacts me negatively economically. And I wish I could make more, but it's an honest man's work.
So Amar, how hard is the labor in farming?
So labor is quite intensive when it comes to farming, especially in Canada, because Canada has a winter season, and the winter season is really harsh. The cold temperatures makes me have to take certain precautions, such as putting a heat lamp inside of the shed so my chickens stay warm, making sure I have the crops processed by the end of the season, otherwise they go bad, and then sometimes the frost hits and then my crops go bad, so I won't have enough money, I won't have enough produce to sell in the farmer's market, and stuff like that. So it just impacts me negatively because with a normal job, you get paid at a salary base. With this, you only get paid once your food is processed and once you're ready to sell. So I don't see the results coming in until the end of the season or until I'm ready to sell. Stuff like that really impacts me negatively, and industrialization of this market has gotten this down to a T, where they could sell any type of produce, any type of vegetables, any type of livestock, any time of the season, any time of the year. So it's really hard for me as a farmer, a local farmer, to do this, let alone in Canada.
Thank you for that. And lastly, we'll be talking about unions representing farmers and protesting. The Ontario Federation of Agriculture is the largest general farm organization in Ontario, representing 38,000 farm family members across the country. This organization provides farmers with government relations, farm policy development, research, lobby efforts, and community representation. The main goal for organizations like the OFA is for farmers to be properly represented to the public and fight for rules and regulations to be set in place by the government as they value the importance of the agriculture industry. No farmers, no food. In India, agricultural workers make up more than half of the workforce. In September 2020, 3 controversial agriculture laws were rammed through the Indian Parliament with no discussion or committee meeting, and no discussion with the farmers' union. Indian farmers have been peacefully protesting against these 3 farm bills on the highways surrounding Delhi's border since November 2020. These bills loosen rules around the sale, pricing, and storage of farm produce. Farmers are concerned that these laws will drive down product prices with no safeguards to protect them against corporate takeovers and exploitations. Black Press Inc. journalist Amrit Mann was able to cover these events happening in India and quotes, "Indian police have attacked peaceful protesters with tear gas, batons, and water cannons, cut the internet, cut food and fresh water supply, unlawfully arrested innocent protesters and their family members, have used extreme measures to stop more farmers from joining the protest, and more. Protesters are missing, journalists have been arrested, and the Indian government is using extreme measures to incite violence, cause chaos and confusion, and cover up the truth. Despite all this, protesters remain positive and optimistic. Although there hasn't been an agreement that both the government and farmers can agree on, protesting against this is definitely the right approach as to how the situation should be handled. The farmers are protesting within their own rights, along with support from individuals around the world. This also happens to be the largest protest in human history. There is plenty of media coverage and attention on this situation, educating the general public on the importance of these farmers and how the decisions the government has made can negatively affect Indian farmers, which will affect our food supply. Thank you. This concludes our presentation, and here we have our works cited page.